Revenge films.
This story is about the time that I was a university student. I look back and realize what a difficult child I was. I never listened to what my parents had to say to me, and would do whatever I wanted, even if I knew that it would upset them. I went out drinking with my friends until late into the night, and would only come home the following morning. My parents worried about me. "It's dangerous for a young girl like you to be out drinking so late. I'm not saying that you can't go out with your friends, but you should try to come home earlier." I understand now that my mother was only concerned about me back then. It's irritated me to have her say things like that. I'm a university student. Partying is what we do. You don't need to worry. I regret being so cold to her. I should have known that they were only looking out for me. My father usually didn't say much to me, but one day he said,
"Do you want to go out for a drink with your old man? I'll take you to one of my favorite bars. I'll treat you to anything there."
It was almost Father's Day, so I thought I'd do him a favor and go out with him just this one time. My father and I had a quick bite and some drinks at a casual bar.
Welcome! This your daughter? You two look so much like each other.
Right? She's a beauty.
Yes, she is. You have the same eyes.
It was interesting to see my father out socializing. The food at the bar was great and I was enjoying myself. I didn't expect to have so much fun going out with my father. My father was a man of few words, but a lot of his friends were at the bar, and he was more talkative than usual. After we finished eating, we went to the second bar, owned by another friend of my father's. A lot of beautiful women worked at that bar, and my father was clearly a regular.
"You brought your daughter today? How nice!"
She was very pretty and had a nice smile. My father, his friend, the bartender, and I had a nice time chatting. The bartender and my father were old friends, and they got along really well. My father's been coming to this bar ever since it opened. The bartender reassured me that my father came to see him and not the beautiful woman. I guess that's why my mother let my father go out drinking by himself often. We then went to the third bar called Bar Purple. The bar was owned by a woman named Sarah. "I thought it was your wife Melanie at first, but now I see that you brought your daughter today. Your daughter looks just like Melanie." "Do I?" "You really do." I guess it made sense that I looked like my mother. I was her daughter after all. Sarah asked me what I wanted to drink, and I ordered a fruit cocktail. I already had a lot to drink that night, so I decided that this would be my last drink. It looked like the two of you have already been drinking for some time now.
Yes. We went to 2 bars before yours.
You can't let your daughter drink so much. You need to look after her.
Yes, I'm watching her, so she'll be fine. This is our first time out drinking together, so it's a special night for us.
Did you know that your parents used to come here together from before they were married? My mother too? Yes. I didn't have a lot of customers back then, so they came to support my business. They would go out to a nice restaurant for dinner and then come here for drinks afterward. The 3 of us would talk all night. It was so much fun. I see. So, you know my mother well too then? I do. In fact, I know your mother longer than your father. I was the one that introduced them to each other, so you could call me Cupid. Really? I had no idea. That's so cool. My father seemed a little embarrassed to have me find out about the way he met my mother. I was pretty tipsy at this point, but my father seemed fine. Does my father always drink this much? Yes, but he doesn't seem to get tipsy, which is strange. I've seen a lot of customers, but no one can drink like your father. I had no idea. My father rarely drinks at home. I was seeing a new fun side of my father. Your father only goes out drinking at his 3 favorite bars, which he took you to today. This is his routine.
That's right.
After you were born, your mother couldn't come out drinking like she used to. She told me that she was a little annoyed at your father because he would go out drinking by himself. There were times when she came to the bar to pick your father up and take him home.
You don't need to tell my daughter all that. That's embarrassing.
I had a nice time talking to Sarah. She told me lots of things that I didn't know about my parents. After a while, I fell asleep at the bar. The next time that I woke up, I was in an unfamiliar bed. I heard the voice of my father and Sarah outside the door, so I assumed that I was still at the bar. I was a little embarrassed that I had fallen asleep and passed out. I got out of bed and went back to my father and Sarah. They both saw me and smiled.
You're awake. How are you feeling?
I hope that you're not hungover. Yes, I'm okay. I'm sorry for passing out like that.
Nancy, do you remember how much you had to drink tonight?
Actually, I don't.
You had 2 cocktails, 3 beers, and 1 glass of wine.
You were counting?
Yes, I wanted to know your limit. It's something you should know when you go out drinking.
I wasn't sure what my father was trying to tell me, so Sarah explained it to me. Your father wanted you to know the dangers of drinking too much. Today, he was here to look after you, but when you go by yourself, you need to make note of your limit and stop yourself from drinking so much. If you don't control your drinking, there are some bad people out there who would try to take advantage of you, and you wouldn't want that. That's what your father was trying to teach you tonight. I see. That makes sense. I realized that my father had asked me out tonight to teach me an important lesson about drinking.
You're young, and you should enjoy yourself. But at the same time, you should know that drinking too much is dangerous. I wanted you to know your limit, so that you can stop yourself from drinking too much at a party.
My father made a good point, and I was grateful that he went out of his way to teach me this. There are times when I'm drinking with strangers, and it would be reckless of me to get too drunk in front of them. If I pass out like I did today at a party, a man could take advantage of me, and that is something that I would deeply regret. I now understood why my mother didn't want me to stay out so late, and I felt bad for being so cold to her. Dad, I'm sorry for making you and Mom worry about me. Your father knows his limit, so he hasn't had any bad experiences with alcohol. It's important that you do the same. Yes, that makes sense. Sarah was kind enough to keep her bar open until I woke up, and I was thankful to her as well. It was already 2 in the morning, so my father and I decided to go home. The following morning, I apologized to my mother. I'm sorry for making you worry about me all the time. Dad taught me an important lesson last night, so I'll drink responsibly from now on. I'll try to come home earlier from the next time. My mother smiled in relief. That sounds wonderful, Nancy. Thank you for being so considerate. My relationship with my mother improved after that, and I began to confide in her a lot more. She told me about her memories with my father, the bartender, and Sarah. I had no idea my father had so many friends. I told my mother how much fun I had with my father and how interesting it was to meet his friends. I became a responsible drinker after that and made a lot of fun memories during university. 10 years later, I met the man of my dreams and we got married. We also had a daughter together. When I became a mother, I remembered what my father had taught me when I was a university student. I now understood why my parents worried about me so much. I loved my daughter so much that I would do anything to protect her. I could see my daughter growing up and not wanting to listen to me, but I hoped that I could teach her some important lessons in life so that she wouldn't make any big decisions that she would come to regret later.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.